Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shiz and Giggles. I'm your host for this week. My name is Wissam, and I have my co-host right here who's gonna join me in a second. My co-host this week is Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing?
Hey Sam, I am doing so good. I'm happy that it's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. However, I was checking my newsfeed on all my social media platforms, and there is a major development that just broke out. I don't know, Casey, you want to share the screen while I discuss this, but our governor, Ralph Northam, just issued a new restriction for the state due to COVID-19, obviously. And now all outdoor and indoor gatherings are limited to 25 people. Not 25 people indoor and outdoor, but 25 people indoor or outdoor. Well, not or outdoor, but indoor and outdoor. Sorry, guys. But that is such a huge deal because before it used to be you could have gatherings at least half capacity or for larger events up to 1,000. So the fact that it's now down to 25 people, I just keep thinking about like, what about restaurants who are doing outdoor seating and King's Dominion that was like planning this huge like holiday celebration. So that is absolutely Friday the 13th-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And also, Governor Northam coming out with this news just is bringing me back to March, which is when we had the last Friday the 13th. And that was March 13th. And the parallel that's happening is just sort of crazy. And, Friday the 13th, superstitions start to come out, and everyone's kind of on edge and anxious. What does that mean? And for this to come out, especially, when COVID's happening, totally changed the game. So, Sarah, I have a question for you. Now that this happened, we've got some more Friday the 13th news. Do you have any superstitions? Do you believe in Friday the 13th? I'm curious.
So it's really funny because when I was little, like having come to the States, because I wasn't born here, if you guys didn't know. So moving here when I was younger and I would hear these stories about Friday the 13th, I'm like, y'all are crazy. So of course I believed it as a kid, but now that I'm older, I don't think I believe in Friday the 13th as an ambiance, but I definitely do think that there's coincidences that happen with this day. Like you said, like March 13th was literally a couple days before everything went lockdown for COVID, and now we're getting these new developments from our governor. So I don't want to say it's a coincidence, but it's definitely not. But I would say I believe in more like cliches, which could be superstitions, if that's a thing. Kind of get my drift.
What were these cliches that you mean that could be seen as superstitions?
So like the saying like everything happens for a reason. Like I feel like that is so true. And as I get older, I find myself relating to cliches more, like using that when I'm giving like my friends advice. So I don't know. I guess in like with this whole COVID thing, I kind of relate a lot of these superstitions and cliches, especially like the whole COVID-19 phenomenon, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it's a pandemic, but I think about like businesses and what they may be thinking. And like, I think about all of our presentation, how like in 2019, we were so excited for 2020 and like, oh, we had all these big plans. And then COVID hit and everything just kind of changed. So it's kind of like, well, everything happens for a reason. We've had some blessings in disguises. We've had some downfalls, but we definitely overall had opportunities that we couldn't have had if COVID hadn't happened. So I would definitely say that's one of my favorite cliches / superstitions. What about you?
I love that, first of all. I really enjoy how you mentioned that everything happens for a reason. I think that's one thing that I also really strongly believe in. I do have some superstitions, but I think most of my superstitions revolve around routine. So I like to have a certain routine when it comes to certain things. Say I know I'm going into work and we have a big day or we have an event here at AAP. And I just think about, okay, so maybe my routine is going to look a little different. Maybe I won't have coffee. I don't know. For some reason, that's a superstition of mine. And then it also transitions into what will I wear if I have a big presentation. And that just pulls me into our next topic with superstitions and businesses. And you mentioned before how, that sort of idea of everything happens for a reason at the end of the day really did help AAP, and we've learned and grown. But how is it that small businesses, especially, can maybe even benefit from superstitions?
Ooh, I think I am I still here? Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't do anything, but it's okay because we're all in the studio. So yeah, let's talk about superstitions that play into the business. I think we have an article that we found dealing with 10 superstitions that make small businesses thrive. So if you guys would like, I can go down the list really quickly about some of them. Maybe I'll just do the ones that I feel like pertain to AP. But obviously, number one is Friday the 13th. There's a statistic, I can't speak, a statistic that says Friday the 13th affects 9% of Americans. If you think this small percentage can affect you, here's some news. Businesses lose 800 million to 900 million on revenue on this day because of superstitious customers. So I'm guessing a lot of people are either trying to stay away from businesses or maybe they're scared to go out in terms of going out to restaurants or spending money. But it's kind of funny that like Friday the 13th and kind of tying that into COVID-19, like which one's scarier? Because a lot of people are doing that to begin with. But that's a fun fact if you didn't know. Again, I'll say 800 million to 900 million in revenue is lost on Friday the 13th because people are scared. What's another one? Ooh, the power of the full moon. So just 2 weeks ago, I think on Halloween, we had the first like full moon on Halloween. I think it hasn't happened since like the 1940s or something like that, a really long time ago. So it is believed that starting a new business or trade during the new moon is a surefire way to get bad results. So I hate to break it to you, if you started a business 2 weeks ago, maybe we should like delay it a little bit. I don't know. What do you think, Sam? Maybe. I'll do one more. There's one that says adding money plants. So money tree plants are a traditional symbol of good luck and fortune. The money tree bonsai, aka the pachira plant, is especially considered to bring wealth to entrepreneurs as its stems may carry 7 leaves. All I gotta say is AAP needs a money tree, and I think that we can all agree that we need that luck into our lives. So go out there and purchase your local money tree. I don't know where they sell it, but I'm sure Google can help you out. But those are just a couple of superstitions that relate to the business world.
I think I want to add on to your point about the Friday the 13th and how it works with the business world. Businesses do lose a lot during this time, but another interesting thing, I read this article and it said crazy superstitions that entrepreneurs surprisingly value. And Friday the 13th was on that list, and it really goes into that marketing strategy and just strategizing how to go about this time of the year and telling your audience, telling your clients that, Friday the 13th is coming, but we're here to support you, or shop with us, and push that out there in that marketing strategy, I think was really interesting about Friday the 13th. Another thing I think with businesses, I would say, I've also read some other articles that really play into that sort of routine and techniques where businesses have a routine when they open on the first day and how they go about their daily processes. And then also maybe even down to colors, because I think one of those 10 superstitions was the color superstitions on that list that you have as well. And it could go even down to before you even start the business and you're just choosing your brand colors. That could play a big role into it, I believe. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I really do like that color part. I wonder. Makes me want to like ask Andrea like why she chose red. I feel like red is also a very powerful dominant color, and I feel like AAP is especially this year. I feel like we've learned to really take the situation that we're presented with and kind of like I don't want to say dominate it, but we definitely learned to um, take it by its hand and run with it. So we're super, super grateful with that. So maybe red was our good luck charm or good luck color, if you want to say. Yeah. So good for that.
I agree. I think also another thing is that, sorry, lost my train of thought there. It just flew right past me.
That's Friday the 13th. Whose memory
It's getting to me.
casually.
Yeah, a few episodes ago, we talked about fear and change and how that affects our lives. And I think this is coming back up as a theme. And you mentioned how we took change by the hand and we ran with it and we learned here at AAP. But should we fear superstitions? What are your thoughts? Should there be fear associated with it, or should it be more of a learning opportunity? What do you think?
All right. I believe that everything needs to have limitations. So, yes, you can be aware of different superstitions that exist. However, don't allow that to kind of become don't allow it to disable you. I think that the few things that we mentioned earlier on today about the different facts, like the whole 800 million to 900 million of revenue loss on Friday the 13th, I never knew that. So maybe, like you said, businesses can find different marketing strategies. So you can be aware of those superstitions and maybe you believe in it. But if you do have a business per se, don't allow your business to suffer because of something that technically wasn't scientifically or logically or whatever proven. It's a superstition for a reason. It's not a fact. It's more, I want to say it's opinion, but it's kind of like one of those things that come through generations. I remember I was watching this video of Kamala Harris, who said she was asked a question about like overcoming, naysayers and stuff like that. And it kind of reminded me, like, your question, like, do you believe in superstition? And how people can always say, no, I don't want to do this because it's Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, or no, we can't do that because it's Friday the 13th. But Kamala Harris says, I eat no for breakfast. So if there are people who are saying, yes, we're going to cut back because of, superstitions, you should be like, no, because we're not doing that. You got to eat that for breakfast and roll with it. So I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, which happens a lot. So I don't know, Sam, what do you think?
I think that makes sense. I really enjoy that. I do agree with you. I don't think we should fear superstition or allow it to hold us back. I think we should sort of acknowledge that it is a thing, and sometimes it changes from place to place. The Western world superstitions could be different from other places across the world, and that's something to keep in mind. Don't allow that to control whether it's the business you want to start, or the job you want to apply to, or a client you want to network with. Whatever it is, you need to acknowledge it, first of all, and if that is something you believe in or not, and then also transition into having that action. Like you said, like Kamala Harris said, eat that for breakfast. Like, you transition into an action and you push forward. And I think that's inspirational and motivational. Yeah.
We stand our Madam Vice President, we really do. But you brought up an interesting point. So as last week, Andrea was like, we're very international here at AAP. I am African. With Sam, you're from Jordan, I believe. We have Casey, who lived in London, and we have Christine, who is Filipino, I believe. Right? Philippines? Maybe, yes. Can I get some positive Philippine? And then we have Jasmine, who lived in Japan for 6 years. So do you have any cultural superstitions? Like, is there any like different superstitions in your culture with him?
We do have some. I think one of the biggest ones is called the evil eye. So that one is a big one in my culture. And also it's about being humble and not being too flashy or showing off too much. And I think that's something I value in my life, whether it's my success, my failures. I keep that to myself. I want to celebrate and I want to share that I have had failures as well. But I think it's also to the degree of, don't be too flashy and continue to work to be better. And I think that's something that here at AAP we continue to do is after every event we sit down and we talk about how the event went and how we can be better the next time. We always want to strive to be better than the last time and find any sort of setbacks if there are any. But that's one thing, that's a major thing in my culture. And I do hold that still in my personal life and maybe indirectly, not so directly. Do you have any?
Yeah, it's. I was just thinking the evil eye. I don't think it exists so much in my culture. I feel like it does, but like they say it in different ways. But I do have my best friend who's Iranian, and she always mentions the evil eye. I feel like that is something that I remember for life because she's always mentioning it. But I will say, when I was younger, obviously I'm from West Africa and Central Africa, and religion plays a very big part of my life. And I remember when I was little going to like Sunday school and stuff like that, I used to think that like whenever I did something bad or like broke a commandment that God would punish me or like, these things like that. And growing up, I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, every bad thing that I do, I'm going to be punished for it directly. But obviously, as I grew up, I figured out that it doesn't necessarily work like that, like, in that order. But I do think that there's a lot of religions. I'm not trying to, you know, talk bad about religion or anything, but I do know that, like, a lot of my religious friends of different religions, not even Christianity, but a lot of religions like Judaism, Islam, and stuff like that, they have, like, those thought processes. And I see in our comment section, we have one of our viewers who said that, and I'm quoting verbatim, Filipinos are some of the most superstitious people I've ever met. It's like every bad habit that you have, your Lola or Tita will smack you and say that it's bad luck to do so. Relatable, Christine. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
I am the same way. I agree. I think that, superstitions are something that are everywhere in every culture, everything. But it is about sort of how it's interpreted and to what degree it plays in our life. And, I think, correct me, let me know your opinion too, Sarah. But I think that superstitions can be helpful and they can be motivational. And while sometimes, it may be like bad luck or when you say something and you're like, oh, knock on wood, like I don't want to jinx it, um, I still think it has this sort of driving power and this inspirational thing where you may not feel it directly, but it pushes you forward and it makes you want to grow. What are your thoughts?
I 100% agree with you. And it's kind of like what I said earlier. Growth is a big thing when dealing with superstitions and how you take it in and kind of like what you said, use that to not your advantage, but also like how can that help you grow as a person or help you, help benefit. So I definitely agree. Back to businesses, because we are all about presentation. We do business here. You know what I'm saying? It's important that obviously you are aware of these superstitions, and you, if you have like, say you're like a company that relies so heavily on your clients, like we do, and especially as we try to branch into that more international perspective, it's very important to know of these different superstitions. It's all about cultural, I forgot the word, but being culture, understanding different cultures. And so with these superstitions, there are some cultures, I wouldn't say Americans, I feel like the superstitions that we believe in is like, oh, there's a black cat, you know what those mean, stuff like that. But in other cultures, superstitions have a huge effect on business or anything or their families. So it's important, to know about it, and learn to make your clients feel very comfortable and never assume or never think that someone's being silly for whatever they believe in, because you never know where that comes from. So I think it's what you said. I 100% back you in that. But just be mindful, guys. It never hurts to kind of get a new perspective and new understanding.
What a wonderful closing statement there, Sarah. Okay, inspiring everyone, especially across borders, too. I think we had such a great conversation today about not only superstition, but expanding that beyond just the mere thought of it and really diving into it. And as we head into this weekend, we just want to remind everyone, please be safe, wear your mask, And don't forget that Governor Northam just issued a new plan for no more than 25 people inside and outside. So keep that in mind as we head into the weekend. Sarah, do you have any closing thoughts for us? Any key takeaways, any kind of key moment from this talk?
Richmond, be safe. If you're not watching from Richmond, still be safe. I think it's important that a lot of state governors are issuing a lot of new mandates, so please stay updated. Constantly check your phone. We are grateful to be very connected to technology, so these updates are out there. Please be informed. Inform your friends and your coworkers and anyone. And like Sam said, be safe because he said March 13 mark the day of, the week after. So, but it's going to be okay regardless. I don't want to scare you guys. You'll be fine. Enjoy your Friday. But again, be safe.
I agree. And thank you all for joining us on this Friday the 13th, where we stream every Friday at 4 p.m. And we're so excited to see you next week. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend and be safe, everybody.
Bye.